morning.
Oh, good morning.
We are going to our Mexican consulate appointment.
Consulate of Mexico may not be open yet when you arrive.
First appointment of the day.
But hopefully by early this afternoon, we'll be on our way to temporary residence in Mexico.
So we just came out, and guess what?
If you're new here, we're Howard and Caitlin Newstate. We've been traveling full-time for over 2 years, exploring North America and beyond.
Usually around 6.7.
In February, we took our adventures and our home on wheels south of the border to Mexico.
We're in Mexico.
Woo! The food, the scenery, and the people we met were all incredible. We even came home with an additional furry family member, Scout. It's no secret that we fell in love during our 5 months there, which is why we're traveling to Denver this week to hopefully become temporary residents of the country that stole our hearts.
We'll be back.
I know.
It was a chilly morning here in the RV. We are getting ready to leave our beautiful lakeside camping spot, Antero Reservoir, totally free. And we are driving into Denver today, and we were just checking out the weather, and it's so wild because it's going to be 91 degrees where we're going today. And then tomorrow, a storm system is moving in, and we're expecting like several inches of snow. We're going to go fill up our propane and dump our tanks and fill up water so that we're all ready to go to ride this wild early September storm out. We also have our Mexican consulate appointment tomorrow at 8 a.m. in Denver. Today's just going to be a busy travel day and making sure all our paperwork's ready to go for tomorrow. We have been sitting in traffic for about an hour. We just saw why. This guy's having a bad day. Yikes.
Wow. Public service announcement. Don't be this guy.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
All this traffic. 91 degrees. Tomorrow, snow. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
It is early for us. It is 6:30 in the morning, September 8th, and we are going to our Mexican consulate appointment.
Hold up. Pause the video. So why are we getting a temporary residency in Mexico anyway?
When we had entered Mexico back in February of this year, our original plan was to explore for an extended period of time, but then COVID-19 happened.
We just got word that they're closing the borders between the United States and Mexico.
We did get to see a lot during February and March before we had to go into quarantine, and that just made us fall so much in love with the country and realize what a beautiful place it is and how much it has to offer. And then when we went into quarantine, we never expected that we would be spending 3 months in isolation, but that gave us an entirely different perspective of the country. We really got close with the owner, Thelma, of the place we were staying, and kind of developed almost a sense of community with the locals there on the island. And that, again, just made us fall deeper in love. Tourist visas in Mexico are good for 6 months. So originally our plan was to pop down into Belize and then come back into Mexico, which would restart the tourist visa, giving us a full 12 months. But unfortunately, because the borders shut down, we could no longer do that, and we had to return to the United States when our visa expired.
Yeah, thanks, COVID. As of today's filming, which is October 7th, 2020, the United States, Canada, and Mexico are still restricting land crossing for non-essential purposes. So that means if you're going on vacation, you cannot legally drive across the border. You can fly. In fact, you can fly in every direction. They've continued this restriction every single month, and right now the restriction is through October 21st. There's a good chance they'll probably extend it again for another 30 days, and then for another 30 days after that.
Because they've been doing this since March.
Yeah, so our choice became clear. Either we don't travel into Mexico until after the COVID-19 restrictions are cleared, or we apply for a temporary residency. And we chose temporary residency. Unpause video.
We're gonna get ready. We're staying at a Boondockers Welcome, which is only like 15 minutes from the consulate, which is perfect. We have a huge stack of paperwork to go with it. Howard did a really good job of making sure we're prepared. We're kind of overly prepared in case they ask any additional questions or need to see more proof. But hopefully by early this afternoon, we'll be on our way to temporary residence in Mexico.
Isn't that exciting?
It is exciting. It is. Fingers crossed. Coffee.
We have our target bag, so you know it's safe and secure. Inside of here is easily over 100 pages of bank statements and investments. It's all ready to go.
All right. Let's go.
Okay.
Consulate of Mexico may not be open yet when you arrive.
First appointment of the day. Here we go.
Bye, house.
Bye, house.
Y'all, you probably can't see this in the camera, but it is officially snowing.
Just started. Just flipped over. It's like
The changeover has happened.
it's like wet small snow.
You ready?
Hold up.
Pause the video again.
We want to tell you a little bit about the process in depth and why exactly we're in Denver doing it.
You're not going to believe this, but every single consulate has different requirements. But what we are going to do is provide below links to some documents that were sent to us by the consulate in Denver that explain out a lot of this process. We're going to try and give you a high-level overview of what the requirements are and what happens on the day when you apply to become a temporary resident. First step, find a consulate. There are several actually across the United States, so depending upon where you are, there might be one nearby already. Remember, each one is going to have slightly different requirements, but they all use the same system to schedule the appointment. We'll have a document below that lays out the exact steps necessary to schedule an appointment at any consulate in the United States. Of special note, when you schedule your appointment, remember it is per person. One person can schedule for multiple people, but each person has to have a separate appointment. So in our case, my appointment was at 8 o'clock and I scheduled the appointments. The next available was not until 10 o'clock, and that was for Caitlin.
So once you have your appointment, there's a list of several documents that you're going to need. You have to have your original passport with at least 6 months of validity left on it, a copy of your passport, your ID,
A copy of your ID.
one passport size photo, and this can be regular passport size. There was some confusion on if it needed to be a special size. Just go into Walgreens, CVS, any of those passport places and get a photo taken, an application form from the consulate.
And again, we'll have an example one below that lays out exactly what fields you need to complete. Hot tip, you don't sign the back until you're actually there.
And then you need a letter, and this part is really interesting. Don't overthink this. It can be as simple as what we did was we want to go back to Mexico to explore the country that we fell in love with. It was about 2 lines, signed and completed, and that was it. You'll also need a printed copy of the appointment confirmation that they send you once you make that appointment. You'll need $40 per person applying. We were told originally that this had to be cash, but at the Denver consulate we were able to pay with a credit card. And lastly, you'll need your marriage license if you're applying jointly, the original copy of your marriage license. And that entire list, you have to have the originals and a set of copies for each person applying. So you'll have a big stack of paperwork going in there.
Ours was almost 100 pages. Which brings us to the financials. And I know I sound like a broken record, but we will have a document below that spells out the financial requirements for the Denver consulate. There will be slight differences. We can't explain why, but there are very slight financial differences regarding what you need to prove at each consulate in the United States.
So we recommend finding one that fits your financials.
So let's start with the easy one. If you are employed by anyone else and receive a W-2, you will need to present 6 months of bank statements or pay stubs that show your income. Your income needs to be at least $1,500 per month, and if you are sponsoring someone else, Caitlin, you need to show $500 in extra, meaning at least $2,000 per month in pay stubs. But that's not us. And if you're like us and are self-employed, you will not be able to show pay stubs or income in order to qualify. Instead, it's going to come down to financials. For the Denver consulate, the requirements are $25,000 minimum balance for 12 months in a savings account, investment account, or a 401k account. If you're sponsoring someone else, which in our situation, that's exactly what we did, for a spouse or for each dependent, you will need to show an additional $500 in that same account. The way you prove this is by printing out 12 months of statements. You will need to show the minimum balance has been $25,000 or more every single month for the prior 12 months. As we mentioned, each consulate does have slightly different requirements. In the instance of Denver, it was $25,000. When we were looking actually at some of the ones in Texas or in California, they were higher. After all this description, this may sound overwhelming and impossible to complete in order to get your application through. But I promise you, it really is straightforward, and all you're doing is verifying your identification, verifying your financials to prove that you will not have to take a job in Mexico in order to support yourself while you're there, and then applying. That's it.
So once you have all of your documents, all of your copies, your big stack of paperwork, and it's your appointment day, what happens when you walk in the building? You obviously cannot film inside the consulate, but it does look a lot like the DMV. There's a bunch of different windows, tons of people are in there processing different things. Since we had an appointment, we just sat and waited for somebody to call our name. So once our name was called, this woman was so helpful, and it was quite laid back. And she said, oh, you have an appointment at 8 a.m. and one at 10 a.m. I'll just process you together, which was such a time saver and so great. And so she just took our stack of paperwork back. We sat in the lobby and waited. Because of COVID, I think typically we would have gone back into the office with her. And then if she had any questions, she would pop out and ask. The only thing she asked was for our marriage license.
And your mileage may vary, again, depending on the consulate that you go to, whether it's COVID-19 or not, and the agent that helped you.
So without further ado, the results.
Unpause video again.
So we just came out of the Mexican consulate in Denver, and guess what? We have visa.
We were approved.
Yeah!
We're so excited.
This gives us a one-way ticket into Mexico, and then at that point we have 30 days to start the second half of the process, which is where we actually get our temporary resident. That's good for 1 year. Yes, it took a lot of homework to verify that we had the proper paperwork, because you have to verify so many different things, but once that was all taken care of, actually a pretty easy process. We got in at 8 o'clock, we were out by 10.
Oh, baby.
Celebratory breakfast.
I got something called the remedy, so I guess it's like a hangover cure. Kaylin got a side of French toast to go with her omelet because Caitlin loves both.
Snowing. September 8th.
It was Labor Day 2 days ago.
No, yesterday.
It was Labor Day yesterday.
And it was 91 degrees. I don't know if we've told you that already, but this is wild.
This is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Yeah, it's your first snow. Yeah, come on. What is that?
Yeah, what do you think? You don't like it? Is it weird on your feet? Good job, guys. Yeah.
Go get warm. You want dinner? So we spent the night in the luxurious Cracker Barrel parking lot.
Good morning from Cracker Barrel.
We're excited though because we get to go inside and have delicious breakfast. Wait. Sit. Wait. Scout's gotten really good at this. Wait. Okay. Good girl. Menu. So Howard,
Yes.
where are we going today?
We don't know.
What?
We don't know. This is like, I think the first time ever. We have no idea where we're heading today. This is like, this is uncharted territory, literally. I don't know. I was thinking we head north, and I've always wanted to see Glacier National Park, so maybe we'll head that way. I don't know where we're gonna stop. I don't really.
Yeah, because that's like 900 miles.
I think we're just gonna go north. But yeah, so we're gonna look on our phones now
over breakfast at Cracker Barrel and try and figure out where we're heading.
Come along with us next week
We made a game plan over breakfast, and we're going to do a long driving day today.
and find out just where exactly we ended up heading. Spoiler alert, it's beautiful.
Here's our front door. Horses, beautiful mountains. There's still some snow left over.
Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you get notifications when we post our weekly videos. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.